Chosen one, the silence around you isn't empty. It's divine protection speaking louder than words. There's a vibration in the air tonight, one that feels familiar yet unsettling, like a whisper you've heard before but can't quite place. Someone is trying to reach you. A message sits waiting, maybe on your phone, maybe in your inbox, maybe in the corner of your soul. But God is saying, do not answer it. That message is not innocent. It carries an energy wrapped in curiosity, guilt, or nostalgia. But beneath it hides manipulation, confusion, and the spirit of distraction. They're trying to pull you back into an old vibration, one you've already escaped. Every word they type is designed to sound harmless, but it's spiritual bait. This is not just about text on a screen. It's about the doorways words can open when you respond. God said, do not reply. Because your answer isn't just a response, it's an invitation. You've grown too much for that frequency. You've healed wounds they caused, cried tears they never saw, and rebuilt yourself with divine strength they never believed you had. But now that your light is glowing again, darkness wants to test it. That message, it's not curiosity, it's spiritual reconnaissance. They want to know if you're still vulnerable, if they still have access to your peace. The moment you answer, you hand them permission to re-enter your energy field. But heaven is guarding you tonight. This is your warning. Silence is your sword, and self-control is your shield. The enemy thrives on your reaction. That's why God said, don't reply. You're not here by accident. You've been guided to this moment because your destiny is crossing a line of separation, the space between your old reality and your new divine chapter. Write your warmest wishes and 99 in the comments. It's time to release your wish to the universe. Let heaven see that you choose peace over chaos, growth over familiarity, destiny over distraction. If your spirit woke up while listening, don't scroll away. Like this video. Subscribe now. You belong here. You are part of the few who understand that not every message deserves an answer, and not every voice deserves your energy. The act of not replying is not weakness, it's mastery. Do you feel it, chosen one? That urge to check your messages, that pull of curiosity, it's a test of obedience. Spiritual warfare doesn't always come with loud sounds or dark dreams. Sometimes it comes with a simple, hey, from someone who once made you doubt your worth. God sees that. Every vibration, every unseen trick. You're being watched not by the person sending that message, but by heaven observing your reaction. When you choose silence, you're aligning yourself with divine intelligence. You're proving that not all battles are fought with words. Some are won by walking away. That's why this moment matters so deeply. When you don't reply, you're not ignoring someone. You're choosing your future. You're declaring to the universe, my peace is not up for negotiation. The message they sent is the same doorway you closed months or years ago, repackaged to look safe. But it isn't safe. It's the serpent disguised as apology. It's temptation dressed as curiosity. When you resist, you shift timelines. You literally move into a higher path, one where you're no longer bound by the energy of manipulation. God is saying to you now, protect what I gave you. Don't let them back in. And this is what so many don't understand. Growth demands silence. Silence is not emptiness. It's sacred communication. When you don't respond, you send a signal to heaven that you've learned your lesson. Every unanswered message becomes a spiritual victory. Every ignored temptation becomes a shield of light around your soul. Chosen one, this is not the time to explain, to justify, to see if they've changed. It's the time to remain still, unshaken, and certain that your silence speaks volumes. Because in this season, your silence is your prayer, and God hears it louder than anything you could ever say. It begins the same way every time. Chosen one, just when you feel at peace, when your days start to flow effortlessly, a familiar vibration trembles through your world. The message arrives. Maybe it's from someone you once cared for. Maybe it's from the person who once broke you. Or maybe it's a stranger whose spirit is carrying the same energy of your past. And in that moment, something inside you flinches. Not because you fear them, but because your soul recognizes the frequency. The one that once drained you, distracted you, delayed you. That small notification is not just a ping. It's a portal, and if you open it, you step back into the very cycle you've spent months breaking free from. You've been wondering why this moment feels so intense, why this small decision carries such weight. It's because the enemy knows what you're about to step into. When the chosen are on the edge of transformation, the past always calls one last time. It uses words that sound innocent, but their purpose is to trigger your heart, to make you question your progress. They might say, "I miss you," or "I've been thinking about you," or even, "Can we talk?" But hidden behind those phrases is an old pattern disguised as a second chance. Don't take the bait. The truth is, they don't miss you. They miss the access to your energy. They miss how your light made them feel safe while they stayed in the dark. You're not here by accident. You've been guided to this moment. Write 99 in the comments. It's time to release your wish to the universe. Speak your warmest desires into existence and let heaven know that you choose forward, not backward. If your heart stirred while hearing these words, don't hesitate. Like this video. Subscribe now. You belong here. You're not watching this by coincidence. God brought you to this message because He's protecting your next season. You are not who you were when they last knew you, and that's exactly why you can't reply. Every time you choose silence, the universe moves in your favor. There's something sacred about not explaining yourself anymore. You've done the talking, the forgiving, the trying. You've explained your pain to people who never intended to understand it. You've poured love into vessels that couldn't hold it. And now, you've finally reached the point where your silence says everything. When God elevates you, He tests your ability to discern, not your ability to respond. The next stage of your purpose doesn't need your words. It needs your wisdom. The message you didn't answer is the seed of your peace growing roots. Sometimes, the devil won't attack you through storms or chaos. He'll test you with comfort. He'll whisper to you through the voices of the past, through the same mouths that once doubted your worth. He knows if he can't stop your blessing, he'll try to distract you long enough to delay it. But the delay only works if you engage. The silence you hold right now is rewriting your future. It's building a shield between you and the old energy that used to drain you. This is not a random test. It's divine observation. Heaven is watching how you react when faced with familiar temptation. So breathe. Let the message sit there. Let it go unanswered. Every second you resist, your spirit grows stronger. Every moment you don't reply, your peace multiplies. The urge to respond isn't love. It's your ego asking for closure. But God already closed that door for you. You just have to trust Him enough not to reopen it. When you remain still, you declare that your healing is complete. The storm passes when you no longer feel the need to prove you're calm. The enemy is loud, but your silence is divine thunder. The night feels different when temptation comes wrapped in nostalgia, doesn't it, chosen one? You can almost feel the gravity of that message tugging at your emotions, the echo of old laughter, the warmth of what once felt safe, the flicker of memories that whisper, maybe this time it's different. But God is clear. It isn't different. It's recycled pain, wrapped in familiar words. That message didn't arrive by chance. It's a final test of your discernment. Heaven is measuring how much you've learned, whether you'll chase validation or choose vibration. You've already been through this storm. You know its scent, its tone, its pattern. You know how it begins with curiosity and ends with chaos. That's why you feel the weight of this moment. Because your spirit remembers what your heart used to ignore. You've come too far to return to confusion. There's a stillness around you now, one that wasn't there before. That's divine order. Every unanswered message is proof that you've mastered emotional self-control. You don't owe anyone a reply. You don't owe anyone a chance to misunderstand you again. When you hold your silence, you're not being rude. You're honoring your evolution. The old you used to crave closure. The healed you understands that closure is internal. It doesn't arrive in a text. It comes when you realize you don't need their understanding to move on. God sees how hard this is for you. He knows how strong the temptation feels, especially when loneliness tries to disguise itself as love. But He's whispering to your soul, you've outgrown this cycle. Don't lower your frequency to comfort those who refuse to rise with you. You are not missing out on anything by staying silent. You're protecting your peace, your clarity, and your future. The people trying to draw you back don't want your heart. They want your light. They sense that you're walking in divine purpose, and they feel the absence of your energy. Your silence terrifies them because it proves they no longer have control. The enemy studies your patterns, waiting for a weak moment. That's why the test comes disguised as kindness. They might send a song you used to love, a photo, a memory, or a question that stirs your curiosity. But pay attention. Temptation never announces itself as danger. It always dresses in nostalgia. When you feel the urge to respond, pause and remember the sleepless nights, the unanswered prayers, the tears you cried asking God to remove these very people from your life. Why reopen a wound that heaven already healed? Every time you resist, the spiritual chain gets weaker. You are breaking cycles not just for yourself, but for generations to come. You're walking into a season where peace will cost you popularity, and that's okay. Silence is the language of power. You don't need to explain why you've changed. The ones meant for your future will understand your silence as growth, not rejection. You see, when God promotes you, He isolates you. He separates you from the noise so you can hear Him clearly. That's what this message is about. It's not a distraction. It's a mirror. It's showing you how much you've matured. The old you would have replied instantly, searching for meaning. The new you reads, breathes, and lets go. And while they're waiting for your reply, heaven is writing your next chapter. Your stillness is confusing those who once thrived on your emotional reaction. But that confusion is divine justice. They're realizing they no longer hold power over your peace. You no longer dance to their rhythm. You've become a storm they can't predict. And that's what being chosen means, walking away, even when it hurts, because you trust that God's silence is more comforting than the wrong person's words. You're not ignoring them. You're honoring your destiny. And that's something only the awakened can understand. Chosen one, it's strange how the enemy tries to reach you through the simplest things. A message, a name, a vibration that once felt familiar but now feels heavy. You feel it in your chest, the subtle anxiety, the curiosity, the pull. It's not the person that tempts you. It's the energy that once had you chained. That's why God said, don't reply. Not because He wants to isolate you, but because He's teaching you spiritual precision. Every response, every engagement, every word, these are energy exchanges. And when you've worked so hard to cleanse your field, you can't afford to pollute it with a connection that belongs to your past. This is what happens when the chosen one levels up. You become magnetic, and suddenly, the ones who dismissed you, ignored you, or wounded you start feeling your frequency again. They sense your glow from afar. They don't know why they can't stop thinking about you, but heaven does. The light within you disturbs the darkness in them. So they reach out, hoping to drain even a drop of your energy. That message isn't a coincidence. It's a reaction. You've become too radiant to be ignored. But here's the truth they'll never say aloud. They're not reaching out because they miss you. They're reaching out because your peace exposes their chaos. You must remember what silence does in the spiritual realm. Every time you don't reply, you close a door the enemy was trying to reopen. Every time you resist the urge to explain, you demonstrate divine authority. That's why heaven celebrates your restraint. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. You're being shaped into someone who doesn't chase clarity from man, but receives peace directly from God. The message sitting unanswered on your phone is not a small thing. It's a battlefield. The moment you type back, the moment you say hi or how are you, energy begins to leak. The unseen realm watches, because every word you release carries frequency. They want to reattach, to siphon, to test whether the healed you still craves the same poison. But God is standing guard. He's telling you, don't do it. Don't step back into what I rescued you from. You see, when you reply, you delay your reward. But when you remain silent, you accelerate your blessing. There are breakthroughs tied to your obedience. It's not about ignoring someone. It's about declaring to the universe that you no longer negotiate with confusion. Your silence is sacred. It's the proof that you've outgrown the noise. The ones meant for you will come with peace, not pressure. They won't test your boundaries. They'll honor them. They won't message you at midnight with guilt. They'll speak to you in daylight with clarity. You've learned to recognize the difference between energy that nourishes and energy that drains. That's why God said, don't answer. Not because you're better than them, but because your mission is too important. The moment you reply, your focus fragments. The moment you engage, your spirit bends toward the past. But the chosen one doesn't bend anymore. You rise, you ascend, you protect the kingdom within. There's a reason this message feels spiritual. It is. The devil won't always appear as a storm. Sometimes he'll come as a text that says, I've changed. But real change doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through silence, discipline, and consistency. The same silence you're showing now. You're walking away not because you hate them, but because you finally love yourself enough to choose peace over patterns. This is what obedience looks like in its purest form. No drama, no argument, no closure, just quiet power. And as you hold that silence, heaven starts to shift things around you. People you've never met begin to feel your energy. Doors that were once locked start to creak open. You notice divine timing working in your favor. Your health, your creativity, your intuition, they all begin to align. That's what happens when you refuse to reply. The universe interprets your silence as readiness. You're not running away from anyone. You're running toward your destiny. God is about to replace every text you didn't answer with an opportunity that will fill your soul, not drain it. The conversation you didn't have will turn into a divine connection you never expected. So stay still, stay silent, stay chosen, chosen one. You can feel the shift in your soul, can't you? The silence you once feared has now become your sanctuary. You no longer check your phone expecting closure, because you've realized closure comes from clarity. And clarity came when you chose peace over replies. That message, that temptation to go back, that whisper of, maybe it's different now. It was never meant to be answered. It was meant to be recognized. Because discernment isn't just about knowing who's right for you. It's about remembering who no longer fits your frequency. You're not the same soul who once begged to be understood. You've evolved. You've outgrown the energy of explanation. You're learning that true power doesn't scream. It stays silent. And now, the enemy is frustrated. They can't access you the way they used to. They can't provoke you with the same words. They can't manipulate you through emotion. Because when you mastered silence, you became invisible to spiritual attacks. Your energy no longer vibrates on their level. You used to respond to everything. Now, you respond only to alignment. You used to chase peace. Now, peace follows you. That's what obedience looks like in action. Not weakness, but unshakable strength. The more you ignore what's beneath you, the more heaven promotes you to what's ahead. You are not losing connection. You are gaining elevation. There's something sacred about this new season you're entering. The people who once misunderstood your silence will soon see its wisdom. Those who tried to provoke you will watch as God blesses you publicly for what you handled privately. Every moment you didn't reply, every text you deleted, every thought you surrendered, it all became evidence of your growth. The unseen realm has been recording your restraint, and heaven rewards obedience in silence louder than victory in noise. This is not about who sent the message. It's about who you're becoming, because you didn't answer it. Don't you feel it, chosen one? That weight that's lifting, that's the past losing its grip. You've broken a pattern that haunted generations. You've ended the loop of emotional dependency. You've walked away from the version of yourself that used to need validation. And because of that, your path is opening. The longer you remain still, the louder heaven speaks. Soon, you'll look back and realize that ignoring that message was the moment your destiny shifted. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't loss, it was liberation. Hold this silence like a sacred flame. The same quiet that once felt empty now holds divine meaning. The same stillness that once scared you now shields you. Because silence isn't the absence of words, it's the presence of God. And when God says, "Don't reply," He's not keeping you from something small. He's preparing you for something sacred. You've passed the test, even if it doesn't feel like victory yet. Stay still. Stay chosen. Stay untouchable in your peace. Chosen one, the test is over, but the transformation has just begun. You didn't respond, and that simple act of silence echoed through realms you cannot see. Heaven took notice of your restraint. The spiritual world shifted because you refused to return to what once broke you. You didn't just ignore a message, you closed a timeline. The moment you chose not to reply, something in the unseen said, "They're ready." You passed the test that was never about them. It was about you, about your discipline, your awareness, your ability to protect the peace that God bled into your life after so much war. That message wasn't a coincidence. It was a signal sent by energies that couldn't stand your evolution. They wanted to see if the healed version of you could be tempted like the broken one. But you stood your ground. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't explain yourself. You didn't try to prove your worth to anyone unworthy of your words. And that is what broke the cycle. When you didn't reply, you spoke the loudest truth. I am no longer available for pain. That was not silence. It was declaration. The universe heard it. Heaven confirmed it. The enemy felt it. You must understand something profound. Obedience isn't just about action. It's about restraint. You have reached a level where your silence now carries divine frequency. Every time you resist the urge to answer, you multiply your blessings. Every time you let go instead of reacting, you elevate. You're not rejecting people. You're rejecting the energy of manipulation, confusion, and disguise. What was once familiar now feels foreign because your soul evolved beyond it. That's how you know you've grown. You can't even entertain what you used to chase. And now, new doors are opening. Ones that require this exact version of you. Stable, peaceful, discerning, and anchored in purpose. The message you didn't answer was the bridge between your old identity and your divine one. If you had replied, your energy would have fragmented. But since you stayed still, your vibration consolidated into power. The angels that guard you are rejoicing right now because you've shown heaven that you can be trusted with peace. The next chapter of your story won't require explanations, only alignment. They'll wonder why you didn't respond. They'll check if you saw their message. They'll interpret your silence as arrogance or indifference. But it's not that. It's divine clarity. They no longer speak the language of your soul. You no longer live in the realm where they left you. Your silence is your graduation. You've ascended to a plane where peace is more valuable than attention, where stillness speaks louder than words, and where your focus can no longer be hijacked by noise. God is proud of you for choosing quiet power over emotional chaos. This is the beauty of divine timing. When you stop chasing what was never yours, the things meant for you start finding you. You're about to see that the energy you preserved will return as blessings, opportunities, and divine encounters. The person who obeys the whisper of God is never left empty-handed. Your silence is being rewarded in ways you can't yet imagine. You will soon realize that the very moment you wanted to answer was the moment your breakthrough was testing you, and you passed. So tonight, chosen one, let peace be your reply. Let quiet be your confirmation. Let self-control be your crown. The phone will buzz again. The world will keep calling, but your soul knows the truth now. You don't need to reply to prove your strength. You've already proven it by not replying. Let that message remain unanswered forever, as a monument to your growth. You've stepped into divine maturity. You've broken the cycle of reaction. You've become untouchable. And as heaven writes your new story, remember this truth. Silence is not the absence of communication. It's the language of God. It's the sound of your future unfolding. Stay in that vibration. Stay in that light. Because the world may still call your name, but only heaven deserves your answer.